All right, so we are in the Institute of Professor Narlikar. We have to try to keep everything in time. I was given a 5-minute extra for the participants to come in. So, to start with, good morning, everyone who's present here in this beautiful hall, Chandrasekhar Auditorium, this campus of the Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics. Distinguished guests, respected colleagues, dear friends, fellow communicators of astronomy, I am Samir Durde. It's an honor to welcome you all here for the first symposium on in India on communicating astronomy. It's a special occasion, and I'm very honored that you are all here. So over the next 3 days, we'll have a lot of excitement and various kinds of events and talks, etc. lined up. So as the chair of LOC, I'll give a brief welcome to you and a brief introduction to the event, and then we'll have the inaugural event where our various partners who have played a substantial role in making this happen will also express their feelings and support. So, first, we are very deeply honored that this symposium is being held here at IUCAA in the memory of Professor Vishnu Narlikar, a scientist whose influence on Indian astronomy it goes far beyond equations, papers, or even big institutions which he's been part of. It goes into classrooms, it goes into living rooms, it goes into public's imagination. That is the kind of effect he's had over the many decades that he has been a popular scientist in India. So after his passing less than a year ago, we'll be dearly missing him among this community of astronomy communicators. This symposium is our collective way of carrying out his outreach legacy, carrying it forward in the future. So over the next 3 days, we have with us more than 300 participants. Some are online, some are in person, like you here. And we all represent a wonderfully diverse community. We have professional astronomers, we have science communicators, we have educators, journalists, planetarium professionals, amateur astronomers, artists, students, all of us contributing to this common cause of astronomy communication, communicating astronomy with the public. We have we come from various regions, we speak various languages, we use various media. In fact, we also belong to various generations, as is very evident from all the diverse crowd here. But we are united by one shared purpose, that is to bring the universe closer to the people. So this, therefore, is a successful symposium where we continue with this goal in our mind. So, of course, we have to start and be grateful for the support that we have had from the Astronomical Society of India and various other partner institutes like NCR-ATIFR, the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, and the Auditorium Research Institute for Observational Sciences theories. And their presence also here reflects that there is a shared commitment to the public communication, public engagement in astronomy. But beyond these sessions and talks and panels that we will have, I hope that this symposium becomes an event that is more personal to us. I hope it becomes a space where we find collaborators, we find mentors, we find friends. We also don't know that, we also may not know the many people who are here. So please feel free to speak to them, to find new people to communicate with. They are, of course, from our own field. We are all probably doing the similar things. But we have our different approaches. We have our different experiences. So let's make this an event where we share these things and also maybe also learn something. So it's not, let's make it such that communication of astronomy becomes, not just about listening, not just about speaking, but also listening in this event. So finally, as the chairperson of LLC, I want you to know that we are not just your hosts, we are also fellow travelers in the same journey that we are taking. Please feel free to come to us. I will soon introduce my team as well. If you have any questions, do ask us. If you want to challenge us, that's also welcome. And also, of course, help us imagine what the future of astronomy communication in India can be. So once again, welcome to IUCAA, welcome to Pune, and welcome to what we hope will be a beginning of a long and meaningful conversation. Thank you so much. I wish you a really inspiring symposium. So now in this inaugural session, we also have invited seniors from the institutes which have supported us, and in this regard, I will play the video messages from some of the invited dignitaries who could not be here for various reasons. So we will start with Professor Devendra Ojha. A video message from Professor Devendra Ojha, who represents the Astronomical Society of India as the ASI president. So, can I request the lights to be here on stage? Stage lighting Kolkata. Seen these things happen. So,
good morning. On behalf of the Astronomical Society of India, ASI, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all participants to the ASI Symposium 006 on Communicating Astronomy in India 2026, being held at IUCAA Pune from 22nd to 24 January 2026. Established in 1972, ASI is the premier body of professional astronomer in India, fostering research and promoting astronomy nationwide. The society organizes scientific meetings and supports the popularization outreach program inspires young minds and bridges science with society across diverse communities. This symposium brings together communicators, outreach practitioners, and public engagement professionals in the field of astronomy in the country to meet, present their work, share experiences and resources, and form new networks. The chosen theme, Communicating Astronomy, appropriate organization that can bring the diverse stakeholder communities together and organize such a conference. Inspiring young minds and strengthening science education is central to ASI's mission, and such platforms for this diversity of astronomy communicators will ensure the regular engagement with the public and schools. This is the first conference of its kind in India, and I expect that it will have a substantial impact to the community. On behalf of the Astronomical Society of India, I thank the ASI's POC and all supporting institutions for their efforts in bringing this symposium to the fruition. I am also delighted to know that this symposium is dedicated to the memory of Sir J.V. Narlikar as a fitting tribute to his life on science popularization. I wish the symposium great success and fruitful discussion for all participants. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be addressing the participants of the ASI Symposium 6, which is titled as Communicating Astronomy to the Public as such. So this is one of the first conference, and the organizers tell me that they're planning to continue more such conferences in the future as well. And I'm happy to say that I is also one of the co-organizers of this particular symposium. And I'm not here to introduce the symposium to you, but I think it's an important point, and I'm happy that a symposium on communicating astronomy is happening. And I actually takes communication very seriously, and we do a lot of activities for reaching out to public and communicating what we do and astronomy in general to public through scope section as well as all the field stations. We have specific programs for it, and we also reach out to the public in Hanle region through a very unique program called the Hanle ASCAI Reserve and Astrotourism over there. Communicating astronomy to the public is not a new thing which has been going on for years, but it has become more and more important because the public is more interested in knowing what is out there in the sky and why it is happening. For example, the planet parade which we had last year was extremely interesting, and people had all sorts of questions, and it was an event to bring people to look at the sky and understand what is out there. But what is emerging out more is that more and more creative methods to engage public and also bring communities which otherwise are not connected. So I think this symposium will be useful and also will be a ground to bring ideas, discuss ideas, and inspire each other, as well as bring new creative methods and modes of communication, as well as skills presentation, etc. So unfortunately I am not being able to be there at this meeting, but I look forward to hearing about this as well as the discussions. And I wish you all a productive meeting, and I hope that you all go back inspired and starting to do more communication and in a more creative way. Thank you.
So we are actually just playing the videos first because the Grace will not be here. Then we'll invite the others who are present in the hall to the stage. So please don't mind this. Now we are.
I am delighted to welcome all of you
Manish
to
from
the ASI Symposium for Communicating Astronomy in India 2026. It is a wonderful initiative by the ASI and Public Outreach Committee to bring together astronomy communicators across India. We all know that young minds and seniors, everyone is fascinated by astronomy, universe, black hole, and different related topics. Perhaps there is an innate curiosity in the human mind which pushes us to find our place in the universe and how we came here. Pursuing astronomy reveals answer to some of these questions, and open up many more. Considering the size of our country and variety of language and access to resource, it is difficult for professional astronomer to reach everywhere. Neither can everyone visit a research institute or an observatory. So that is where all of you have filled an important area by doing research in various role and capacities. And I appreciate it. I am sure that this symposium will further enhance your effort by providing an opportunity to share, learn and collaborate with other communicators. Along with ASI and Public Outreach Committee, I also thank other major astronomy institutes in the country such as IUCAA, IIA, and NCRA, who along with ARIES have supported this novel step. I welcome you all to visit us in Nainital sometime. ARIES hosts Asia's largest stereo optical telescope, the 3.6 digital optical telescope, we also call DOT. I am told there are 300 plus participants with 150 attending the symposium in person. It is nice to see such a large gathering. I wish all of you very productive time and fruitful discussion and learning ahead. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
With those video messages, we now would like to invite on stage, to join us on stage, Mr. Nishan Singh from IUCAA, Dr. Neeraj Mohan, the co-chair of the SOC and ASI POAC, Professor Yashwant Gupta, Director of National Center for Radio Astrophysics, Dr. Divya, Chairperson of the Public Outreach and Education Committee of the Astronomical Society of India. And Harvinda Jassal, who is also the co-chair of the SOC. So next in the sequence, I would then invite Professor Nishan Singh, who is the outreach head of the Committee of Outreach for IUCAA.
So, hello everyone. Thanks everyone. Thanks Amir for the opportunity. I do not know what to say typically, but I will basically filling in some shoes. As the director, Professor Srianan is unable to attend today due to his prior commitments out of town. I'm here at this inauguration to say a few words. Would also include my share of vote of thanks, so that you don't have to see my face again. So first, on behalf of IUCAA Director, members of the Institute, all contractual staff, housekeeping, gardening, security, canteen staff, essentially everyone who will make your visit very smooth, and keeping in mind the spirits of Professor Narlikar and Professor Zadij, I welcome you all to IUCAA for this symposium on communicating astronomy in India. I am myself not a science communicator, and I am afraid that I will hardly have anything useful to say on the idea of outreach to experienced professionals like you. But based on my limited exposure as a chair of IUCAA's public outreach for the past about 4 years, I could talk briefly about some challenges the outreach efforts face and must overcome with more awareness and sensitization amongst the mainstream academics and policymakers. And I hope the discussions and discourses here will benefit the future discourses. Already at the outset, I sincerely thank the public outreach team of IUCAA, led for many, many years by Mr. Samir Rude and his team. Samir, you all know, and who has been a pivot of IUCAA's outreach for many years. Then Prasad, Mateji, Tushar, Rupesh, Adharva, Sonal, Shivani, Mayuri, Aniket, Swanand, Shashank, Zamir, Prakash, Saurabh, all near friends, right? I'm just giving you the names just to give you an idea what it takes to run a successful outreach program at the national level. And these are the few names that I have to take, I must take. That's all I can do in it. So, and the list could go on in terms of various interns who all have contributed critically to IUCAA's glorious history of science outreach efforts in the whole country, and thus to the visions of Professor Narlikar and the subsequent directors who made tireless efforts in this direction. IUCAA has played a key role and continues to play a key role. Gaps in my insights are due to my own misunderstandings, and whatever little is worth noting in what I am going to say is all due to the people mentioned above. So let me just state the obvious. Science outreach is very important, right? Just obvious. This requires a dedicated team, as the case is at IUCAA. But I won't be honest if I only paint a rosy picture here. Hopefully you will agree that most institutes and scientists are yet to grasp the significance of public outreach, and therefore the due importance is often not given. Pioneers like Arvind Gupta and later on Arvind Paranjpe, to name a few, would perhaps agree that they could do what they did, at least partially but critically, through the support system provided by institutes like IUCAA. But for countries large as India, it is rather alarming that very few places are able to sustain the outreach activities. As a result, next generation pioneers who could come from people in this crowd, many young, bright professionals, with some I have had the opportunity to interact with, are forced to prematurely and reluctantly leave the field due to lack of any serious opportunities. Okay? So I'm just sharing my pain by dealing with people. Even maintaining traditions is being difficult, as the human resource developed over years is not being valued at a level they deserve. So again, limited exposure of course, but I see no dearth of young talent, at least in this area. What's perhaps lacking is the necessary national level support system to nurture this talent, which can play a transformative role in these changing times. You may ask how, and I can elaborate further in our discussion, so I won't bore you further with this. Training of outreach professionals through, for example, specialized degrees, for example, masters in astronomy outreach or astronomy education. Some of these ideas on specialized degrees is the need of the hour, or needs to be strengthened, and policymakers and scientists need to be further sensitized on this. Some of these key points are due to thanks to my dear friend and a casual mentor, I call him, Rajiv Mishra, right, who very casually told me over a period of our discussions that why some of these things are important in a very joking manner, right? Otherwise we start to take ourselves too seriously. So modern science, as we know, is rather excessively jargonized. Why am I saying is because that makes the public outreach and science outreach even more important. The job is going to get more and more challenging in these times of jargonization. No one's fault perhaps, but the nature has become such. Disseminating key developments from modern science to the public is naturally going to be harder. So one needs to build a team of trained professionals through specialized degree courses whose role need not be limited to public engagements, but through their feedback, they could help clarify the broader visions of mainstream academics. So the feedback would go to mainstream academics. So the role is not just limited to public engagement. In the end, I thank the supporting institutes and organizations, ASI, IUCAA, NCR, ARIES, and finally IUCAA, which continues to support the public outreach efforts of IUCAA for their strong support, which brought us all together here. And just wish you all a great time. Surely this will benefit the future discourse on this important topic. Thanks, with hope and goodwill, with Dishan.
Thank you. It's good to have bouquets and requests and good critical review of the situation. May I now invite Yashwant Gupta also to say some words.
Thank you, and a very good morning to all of you. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this event on behalf of NCRA, and I'm really glad to see this, what I will call one-of-a-kind event coming to life. Often as scientists, we are busy with our main passion, which is either to build large facilities and carry out cutting-edge science with those, and somehow we assume that the excitement that we get from the interesting work that we do is just getting communicated to the general public. We just sort of take it for granted. But actually, it doesn't really work that way. And it is something that we realize when we come to face with interactions, whether it be with press reporters, when we organize a press conference, or it is when we interact with the general public to try and explain what we are doing. And there are often scientists who can write fantastic papers to communicate the excitement of our results. We often struggle to be able to communicate the excitement of the mysteries of the universe and our growing understanding of the same to the general public. And I've seen that quite often. Now, of course, at different institutions, we try to set this right in our own way by having, outreach teams which carry out various kinds of activities. Some at a relatively small scale, some at fairly large scales, and it varies from institution to institution. For example, in NCIA, we have perhaps the nation's largest science day event at the Giant Meter Wave Radio Telescope, where we run the event for 2 days simply because there isn't enough capacity to handle the number of visitors that we get. So there's over 20,000 is the footfall that we get in the 2 days event of the Science Day. And many of our staff members also carry out other kinds of outreach activities interacting with the local population in and around GMRT. And we've heard the similar things from other partner institutions like IIAs and IUCAA. But I feel that there is a lack of organizing this at a larger level, at a national level, and bringing in additional stakeholders who are interested parties and who can actually partner with us and make this job easier and more effective in order to communicate what we do to the wider public. And in that sense, I think this is an extremely important and opportune symposium that is happening, and it is really much needed. That said, I was a bit surprised to hear that there is such a large turnout of participants for this. I think it just indicates how much interest, latent interest there is in the country for developing this activity. And it's fantastic to see that this symposium has brought together people from diverse walks of life with different interests, but with a common goal to try and promote how we can more effectively communicate science to the general public. So I think this is really fantastic. And I see in the schedule that in addition to just lots of talks and lectures, there are also live demonstrations. And I think it's nothing like a live thing that you can see and experience in order to enhance your interest in what's happening. And in that sense, we at NCIA are happy to support the visit of the delegates to our GMRT observatory, because again, you see a world-class facility and then you get to interact with the people there and you get to understand how cutting-edge science is carried on at such facilities. And I think that is really a key part of getting this wider cross-section of people that are here for this meeting to get more deeply coupled with these activities. So I think this is a wonderful program that has been set up, and I congratulate the organizers for doing this. And I'm sure all of you will have a fantastic time, and I hope that the people who will come to this remain connected and can work together in partnership with all of the institutions, especially the ones who are sponsoring this event, but even beyond that, other institutions in India, in order to carry this movement forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. Now, in the inaugural session, I'll invite the chair who will represent the associate, Professor Neeraj Mohan Raman and this term of this slides.
Thank you, everybody. So welcome again from the Scientific Organizing Committee to the ASI Symposium 6, Communicating Astronomy in India. Some of us have been in this room have been talking about having a conference like this for quite a few years. And I think I'm very happy that we're finally being able to get it together, and it's the first of, I hope, a series of such conferences, maybe every 2 or 3 years in the future. So I have Vivek Oberoi here, he's the chair of the Public Education Committee of the ASI. I'm a co-chair of it. And for the Scientific Organizing Committee of this conference, we have co-chair Harvinder Jassal, who was here on stage, as well as Samir Dhrude here. First, I would like to really thank ASI for taking this up as a symposium. This is not a regular kind of academic astronomy symposium you would think of. So ISI was very happy to take this on as part of the symposium series and also help fund it. So really thankful to them. And of course, IUCAA very readily agreed to host it. It's a huge task of hosting all of you. You'll see the number of emails we've been sending you every day for the last 2 months. So you realize the amount of effort gone into it. So I thank IUCAA again for hosting it and also funding it, supporting it in many ways. There will be funding support from IIA, Astrophysics, and ARIES, Aryabhatta Research Institute for Experimental Sciences in Nainital, and NCRA has been supporting us in terms of the trip to the Giant Midway Radio Telescope, which is again, like I should say, a world-class facility right here in this country. I would say, so people have been talking about how we have so many people here. It's really good. We all know, I think, that astronomy communication in India is very, very old. Right? In modern times, it dates back to probably 60s or 70s. And many of you might know the pioneers who started doing this in small pockets in various parts of India, pretty much on their own, pretty much voluntarily, putting their own money into it. That's continued ever since. Institutions like IUCAA are a very notable example where the institution has been supporting outreach in the country for decades now. And many other institutions have followed suit in the last 10 years or so, which you saw through video messages and so on. Most astronomy communicators in India work pretty much in isolation or in small groups. They work in their own towns or cities, maybe in the district or maybe a few cases states. And institutions like us, like IIA, IUCAA, and so on, though we may not play such a huge part as you do because the sheer numbers are with you and the reach is with you, I think it's important that institutional support is there because there's a huge amount of benefit coming from institutions standing behind you and saying, you go ahead, we will help you in some way, which is also why we really wanted the video message to be played and people here on stage like Nishant and Yashwant to kind of promise you on their behalf that our institutes are there behind you to kind of take this forward, right? Though the astronomy community, science community is very diverse in India, and has been doing a lot of work. One thing which is very lacking since the beginning, in my opinion, and Nishant also shared, is that there's not been much interaction. There's not been much networks. If you know the networks, they are state-bound or region-bound, except for maybe some attempts by some groups, including the IUCAA. There has never been a truly long-term, sustainable, national network of people sharing ideas, sharing things, coming together for events, even like eclipses and so on. And one of the main motivations for this symposium is to kind of precisely do that, or to foster that among you in the next 3 days, right? So we have 8 plenary talks, 52 parallel talks, 52 posters, 15 demonstrations. That's a large number. And I also want to bring to your attention session 11 on day 2. At 4:15 p.m. where you're going to have flash talks by all the poster presentation and the demonstration presenters. We're going to have small talks on the 3 mega projects, SCAI India, LIGO India, and the TMT. We also want to have a skit on Galileo, so please cover that. And very importantly, on day 3, though you might think your day is your day 3, you cannot. On day 3, we have 3 breakout sessions where you're going to decide ahead of time what topics you want to go discuss in a smaller group, come back and report, which should lead to action items going forward, and also a large discussion session involving everybody in this auditorium. So please do cover that. It's a very packed schedule, so please do keep to time. Both chairs and the speakers, please help us keep to time. We already late by 10 minutes, so I asked somebody to kind of make up for that in the coming session. We want to send emails to the chairs as well as all the oral presenters to upload your talks before the session starts in the respective computers, both here at Bhaskara 3, so please do cooperate. Meet your chairs and presenters, meet each other early on and do that. Please, the two locations where there are posters and demonstrations, there are posters outside Bhaskara 3 and there are demonstrations and some posters across the hall this way in the Muktangan and ACE. LOC will tell you where it is, so please allocate a time for poster and demonstration, please go visit both sites and talk to people. It's an excellent opportunity for you to learn what's out there. We've also opened a Slack account. We see not many people active. Please join Slack. Slack is a way for especially online attendees, of whom there are 180, to interact with people here, ask questions after your talk, and so on. So please do that. Lastly, don't meet with your friends. Please eat with new people. Every lunch and dinner, talk to new people, make friends. This is the occasion. After you go back, you're not meeting more people ever again. And therefore, please do take this opportunity to meet new people, talk to people, turn to your neighbors, say hello, and so on and so forth. The idea is that this leads to collaborations in the future. And the way we structure astronomy communication in India should change after the symposium and become intrinsically larger scale and collaborator. So I'll end there. Thank you. This is a map of where everybody attending online comes and attending in person is coming from. So you can see we cover a large part of India. There are of course expected pockets like Karnataka and Maharashtra, Maharashtra and so on. But I'm quite happy that there's a reasonable coverage of people attending in person from across India. We should make this more. We should, as a matter of policy, identify regions where there are more people and try and work with them and build capacity. I also want to show you the age distribution of all attendees in person and online. But since we have given preference to people to talk about the work they've done, that preferentially biases towards people who are slightly older. And this is the in-person attendees age distribution, which is kind of slightly skewed upwards. And lastly, I want to end with the gender distribution. So we have around 30% women, both in the overall attendees as well as in-person attendees. I'll stop it. Thank you.
That's a nice set of numbers to wrap up the inaugural session, and it's quite heartening to see the great distribution that we have. So we're just moving to the next session, which will be particularly in the memory of Professor Narlikar. So, I just expressed that this symposium is especially meaningful to us because we are here gathering together in memory of Professor Narlikar. He's been a visionary scientist, astrophysicist, and institution builder to make such an amazing institute come up here and reach out to all the universities and therefore growing the status of astronomy and education at all levels across India. He's also above all what we know him as a passionate communicator of science, not just astronomy. Pleased him very much to have this and have the pilot one here in IUCAA. I am myself a product of the inspiration that he has been providing over the many decades that he was actively in science and science communication. I remember seeing him on TV during some solar eclipse which was happening, and I was amazed that a scientist is going to such a remote place and taking all the trouble to explain these things in such a simple way to somebody who was just watching across the television screen like me. I was also, I remember talking with him on such a subject just about a year ago, and it was a, me, Neeraj and many others have been hoping to have a great gathering of all the astronomy communicators across India for quite a while now, when COVID and others played spoil sport, but with Mr. Narlikar, it was always a positive advice that you would get. And so there was definitely an encouraging go-ahead that I got from him. And his advice was that we should always utilize IUCAA's popularity and the momentum it has developed in science and astronomy outreach as a pioneer in the same. So we will now have a session dedicated to Professor Narlikar and his inspiration. I will make sure that this is not just a list of the achievements that he has done, but also a look at a survey of his achievements, but look at the legacy and the ideas and the values that he has left. So, he has always spoken to people. He has spoken about science not to the people, but with them. And many of us are here, as I said, inspired by his books, his television programs, his public talks, and simply by the way he made complex ideas, and they would feel very approachable when he would speak to us about them. So, in that regard, I would play a short video about, which of course is self-explanatory, but you'll see how much influence he had on people. So, part of this is in Marathi, but there are subtitles which would convey the essence. This is a celebration of his 80th birthday and something which
Professor Narlikar, internationally acclaimed Indian scientist, explored new horizons in the field of astrophysics and astronomy. He founded the now world-renowned Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, or IUCAA, for the pursuit of his chosen field. Professor Narlikar turned 80 on the 19th of July 2018. IUCAA organized a special event to celebrate this special occasion. However, things did not turn out quite as they had been planned. Suddenly,
आप गलत जगह आ गए हो।
यहाँ कहाँ आ गए आप?
आपके पास एड्रेस है?
दादा दादा आयुका का कहीं बनते थे इस नो
आयुका नगरी?
आयुका नगरी नहीं है आयुका है
आयुका
मार्क्सी बराबर आओ मला की हाँ पैसा लेकिन यहाँ बहुत बड़ा कार्यक्रम होने वाला है हाँ आयुका के फाउंडिंग डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर जय नार्लिकर के जन्म दिवस के उपलक्ष्य में त्यामुळे चालू नमक आम्ही समारंभासाठी
आहो पण तुम्हाला आमंत्रण आहे का?
और तेवढं काय वाटतं कुठे आमंत्रण लागते रे अब क्या करेंगे
हे विज्ञान प्रसार करणारं संकुल आहे, खगोलशास्त्राबद्दल संशोधन करणारं. हे देऊळ नाही.
हाँ हे देऊळ नाही अहो पण तिथे विद्यार्थी डिपार्टमेंट सांभाळणारी विद्येची देवी सरस्वती हे देवावर करते देव तुम्हाला नाही
है कौन? अब आए कहाँ से?
सांगो ऐका
अहो आम्ही फलाणे गावावरून आलो. अहो तमाशाचा फोड आमचा. फलाणे गावचा बापूराव आणि अपुराव यांचा फरमास फोड नावाचा.
अहो फार मोठं नाव आहे राव आमच्या पाडाचं मोठा माझे आमचा.
बहुत अच्छे, पर आप गलत जगह पे आए हुए हैं. देखिए चारों तरफ शिक्षण क्षेत्र के बड़े बड़े ऋषि महर्षि आए हुए हैं.
डॉक्टर, प्रोफेसर, शास्त्रज्ञ, संशोधक.
राग मानू नका बाबा, पण आपलं शिक्षण कुठं झालंय?
जागे गुरुजी
शिक्षण भले आम्ही सर्व आणखी बाहेर पण आमची पोरं नागोंड शाळा कॉलेजमध्ये शिकलेली आहेत.
शाळेमध्ये जातात आमची सगळी पोरं.
शाळा शिकत्यात.
हा? ये ऋषी?
या बापूरावचा नातू कौस्तुभ
कोण रे?
कौशल्या कौशाले उषा
हा मग पहिला नंबर सोडत नाही नंदी. स्कॉलरशिप आहे त्याला.
स्कॉलरशिप?
जयेंद्रराव सारखा त्याला बी आभाळाचा राग आहे बघा. काय ते कसलं रे बोल खगोल हा खगोल 5 वर्षापूर्वी वर्गाबरोबर गेलो होता नारायणगावला. ती दुर्बीण बघायला. अंग ती दुर्बीण बघितली आणि आकाशातल्या ग्रह ताऱ्यांनी पार ग्रासलंय की त्याला.
होय, अहो त्यांना आपले 8-10 उशीर सोबती जमा करून काय ते सत्र सुरू केले. कसलं का सत्र?
नक्षत्र सत्र.
नक्षत्र सत्र. चंद्र, सूर्य, ग्रह, तारे यांची काय मिळेल ती माहिती जमवतात पोरं. अहो नक्षत्र मित्र बनवतात स्वतःला. पाठ विज्ञान कथा वाचतात.
हो, आमच्या कौस्तुभनं तर जयंतरावची समधी पुस्तकं फस्त केली. आम्हाला विज्ञान कथा ऐकवतो. आजच्या या सोहळ्याचा छडा कौशारीकडे सौकर्यानेच लावला की.
अहो खरं तर तीच वानरसेना येणार होती इथं ऐकायला दिला.
पण बापूराव म्हणाले जरा दामानं घ्या लेकरांनो, आधी आम्ही जाऊन बघतो.
पण तुम्ही आम्हाला नो एंट्रीज केली ना राव.
अहो आमचा कौशा सांगत होता की आयुका नगरीत काहीतरी 8 कलमी कार्यक्रम आखलेला आहे म्हणून. बरोबर
बरोबर. अष्टपैलू कार्यपद्धती.
मग त्यांना 8वं कलम आठवा बरं.
सांगतो.
आम्ही सांगतो. अहो विज्ञानाचा लोढा पार खेड्यापाड्यापर्यंत पोहोचवायचा. शाळा कॉलेजाच्या पोरांमध्ये आभाळ माया पालवली पाहिजे.
So I'll have to cut this short here. It's a long tamasha, as you will see, and this then goes on in a very positive way. You'll also see that we don't shy away at IUCAA. We don't shy away from all sorts of medium to take the message to the people. And of course, as you saw, sometimes it happens that institutes might stop you, or there might be a little hindrance. But we get over that, and in this drama, after this, basically we have Professor Mahavi. Then he stops them, says, invites them on stage, and then they present the, the good wishes that they want to present to the professor. Stop this here, but in continuation, I would like to invite Professor Mahavi up here on stage, and we'll also. This will be a little chat that we will have. So this session was planned with some of the closest associates, people who have seen Professor Narlikar work and have been influenced by his work as well. And we were also expecting Mr. Arvind Paranspe, who has been one of the earliest members of the SciPop team, but he could not make it today, so we'll have a message from him later. However, I would like to start with Professor K. Bhavi, and we ask you to say a few, maybe tell about 1 or 2 anecdotes about Professor Narlikar.
Thank you. I'm so very glad to be here addressing all of you communicators. And I feel a little bit shy, of course, because you are experts and we're just amateurs in this field of communication. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about some unusual aspects of Professor Narlikar in terms of science communication. We all know you are the great communicator. You used to sit on the stage here and answer people's questions in English and Marathi, hundreds of people here, hundreds of people outside. That's all known to us. But what is the purpose of communication? Science communication, astronomy communication. So we do that to inform people, to educate them, to entertain them, to influence them, and to attract them. The influence and the attraction is very important. Let's compare it with environment science, and we know that we are heading to a disaster. And so when you educate people about climate change, for example, and then convince them to not use plastic bags or not waste food and use less fuel, then they are immediately contributing to the welfare of the planet. But when we talk about astronomy, there is no immediate possibility like that. Okay, so you could get them, for example, to celebrate the Big Bang Jayanti. But that doesn't mean anything at all. So we are always striking at a deeper point. And we feel that by telling people about astronomy, you are getting them interested in science in general or in the higher aspects of life in general, which is always a little bit more abstract and difficult to do. Now, Professor Narlikar was a great expert in that. Now, his first public outreach, which I believe was unintentional, was when he was very young, 23, 24 years old. He was in Cambridge, he was working with Hoyle, and at that time there was a big problem between Professor Hoyle and Professor Ryle, who was a great radio astronomer. Ryle believed in the Big Bang theory, Hoyle was one of the creators of the steady state theory. Ryle had built a wonderful telescope like the GMRT that we have here, and then he, using those observations, he believed that the universe is evolving. Hoyle believed that the observations were not being correctly interpreted. And there was the young Narlikar in Cambridge at the time. Hoyle did not want him to get involved with the steady state theory, but this was an emergency situation. And so Jan sat down and did all kinds of totally wonderful calculations in just a month's time. And then there was a meeting in the Royal Astronomical Society, which he went to, and he spoke about the work that Hoyle and he had done. And in just an instant, he had been given 10 minutes, Hoyle was not present at all, and Jan became internationally famous. Right, so that had tremendous influence on everything which came afterwards. So it was absolute public outreach to an extremely esteemed kind of audience. The Royal Astronomical Society at the time had a great sitting there in the hall, and he came out victorious. Then he came to India. And now his father, Professor Narlikar, senior Professor Narlikar, was a great professor, a general relativist. He was in the Banaras University. Guests in his house included Professor Radhakrishnan. So Jayant was introduced to all the greats. He met the Prime Minister. Now the point is that in his general way, it is very what you call a soft voice. He spoke to them, and those people probably for the first time understood the use of astronomy. Right, so that was the second one. The third one is that the great Marathi, what was a polyglot, P.L. Deshpande. So he was visiting Cambridge. After that, he wrote a wonderful book called Apurvai. And then when he was there, he met the young Jayant. And again, because of his gentle ways and obvious intellectual greatness, P.L. Deshpande was extremely influenced. And then P.L. Deshpande made him famous in Maharashtra. Acharya Atre got attracted. And essentially, it is for these three reasons that we are all here sitting in this hall in IUCAA. Right? And the last point I wish to make, when talking to people in a permanent sort of way, leaving a magnificent legacy behind, is IUCAA there. You may think that I'm exaggerating. But when we go inside there to IUCAA, when people first come, they see this fortress-like wall. So that reminds you, what happens afterwards reminds you very much of the Mughal architecture. Because you've got a fortress, you can't see anything, and then you step in, and suddenly the whole beautiful scene rises there out of the ground. And just imagine how much influence that has on people. So it is the building talking to people which has as much influence as all the wonderful astronomers here who do wonderful work. Right? So that is the power of communication, and that is what sustains our science and we who practice science. And so you people who are communicators have a great role to play.
Thank you so much. Professor Imbabu himself is an author. He's also been a long time outreacher and astronomy popularizer. So thank you for your words over this. I'll also now pass on the mic to Professor Ashish Mahabar, who is from the California Institute of Technology, the USA. He is also, he reads and also involves himself in theatre, and he is himself a very prolific author. So maybe Ashish, you can recount something about your experiences with JP.
Definitely. I'll continue what Ajit said in the vein that some of the unusual things that Professor Narlikar used to do. So in communicating, for instance, he was almost never confrontational, but he was still assertive. and he never left his rationalism, and that continued in his science fiction also. So he did his scientific work, he did his non-fiction writing, but also a lot of science fiction writing, which also in some ways started accidentally. But then what happened there is that, and I feel that more scientists should be writing science fiction, because in science what we do is that we think about a problem, then think of it logically and try to organize it in a meaningful way. And that's what Professor Narlikar would also do in his science fiction. And in fact, sometimes initially he took it to such an extreme that people said that he was trying to teach science through his fiction, and because he was rational, he was able to quickly correct that, and his later novels were really more free-flowing and more like science fiction and so on. So he found all these different ways to communicate. The other thing that he would do, not only through his science fiction, but also through his non-fiction communication, is keep the curiosity in young people alive. So his refusal to just autograph something is legendary. He would say that I won't just give you a sign. Send me a question, I will answer that myself, and then I will put a sign on that. And so that made sure that many children wrote to him questions. Many of them were repetitive, which is fine, but many of them did think about things. It spurred discussion between different children to ask what would be saying. And when they received his signature, they were really happy. And those things have come out as books. And that was the other thing. He has written about 500 articles in all. And that prolific writing was really good. And he never shied away from saying how science communication or how science itself is somewhat meandering in its nature. It is not always right, and that scientists also do make mistakes, science makes mistakes, but then they have a way of correcting that. So rather than just take someone's word, how you can see what is right, how you can think about it. So being skeptical, asking questions of everything is something that he tried to communicate in most of his communications also. And so again, one of the things that I would say is rationalism. He made sure that his rationalism percolated everywhere, not just stayed in the 9 to 5 word that he, or like some other people do, that you are rational when you are doing some science, you are rational when you are doing some engineering, but then go home and believe in all kinds of superstitious stuff. So he would come out of strongly against that, again, not in a confrontational way, but as you saw in the Tamasha piece earlier, he was able to reach people of all strata, and that is because he could speak their language, and that way he was able to communicate really in a strong way. Curious.
So yes, we got to know a little bit more about Professor Narlikar's science fiction, and it's also inspired the next generation of writers. We're very happy about that. In fact, the book that was, the activity that was mentioned here where Professor Narlikar, let's call him JVN because we are habituated to call him that. So he would not sign autographs. He would give so many lectures on this stage have been given by him, and children would approach him saying, can I get your autograph? He would not sign them, but he would say, send me a postcard. And of course, there would be a popular medium at that time, and they would send him a postcard, and he would send a letter back to them, a postcard back to them with his own signature, and the answer to their question. So, as a respect to that, and as a memory of that, we have in your registration bag provided you a copy of the book called Postcard Artun Science, or Science through Postcards, which will have a lot of these answers in his own words, and also there's an autograph by him in the book. So please, feel free to find it there. I also have a slide which Professor Bhavi has asked me to show here.
You can see here, this is in 1951, 1951 there left, top left corner. So he was explaining the Pythagoras theorem to somebody, and this is in 2002, and you can see here he's explaining something else, cosmology to something. Look at the body language and everything remains the same. So he was just a born communicator. I mean, these pictures are a great illustration of that. Thank you.
Very nice memory. We'll now go to a message by Sabrin Paranspe, who could not be here, but he sent a recording of it.
Limited time, I will confine myself to three things: IUCAA's outreach activities, Javian's interaction with the press and his engagement with those of us who work closely with him. They'll ask to also have an outreach element. I will be brief, recounting a few incidents to illustrate my point. Javian had deep affinity, if that is the word I want, for what was then called science popularization, later renamed the Public Outreach Program, POP. Among the many committees he constituted to ensure the smooth functioning of IUCAA, the POP committee was one. The first committee of POP had Professor Narlikar, Professor Ranjan Gupta as members, Professor N.C. Rana as chair, and myself as convener. I remained convener for nearly 20 years, until my retirement in 2011. While the chair and members change every 1 or 2 years, the continuity of program remained intact. In the early days of POP, we conceptualized 3 core activities: celebrating National Science Day, NSD, on 28th of February, summer program for school students in April and May, and the second Saturday lecture demonstration program. NSD may sound like a name of a toxic or addictive drug. In a sense, it became exactly that. National Science Day soon grew enormously popular in Pune and its surrounding areas. Each year, IUCAA sees footfall of over 8,000 visitors. In those days, Union budget was also presented on 28th February. One year, a cricket match fell on that day as well. Expecting a poor turnout, it was decided to observe NSD a day earlier. Yet, on the 28th, busloads of visitors arrived at IUCAA by about 10 a.m. Their logic was simple. If it is 28th February, then we must be at IUCAA. From that year onwards, NSD was always celebrated strictly on 28th of February. Noticing its success, all major institutions in Pune soon began celebrating NSD on a large scale. Pune, with its abundance of science enthusiasts, effectively turned the day into a citywide science festival. Every science lover reserves that day to visit as many institutions as possible in Pune. This, I believe, was Javian's indirect yet enduring contribution to the city of Pune. The transformation of National Science Day into a major public event. Javian's relationship with the press was equally remarkable. He interacted with media, print as well as audio-visual, with warmth and openness. He rarely refused an interview. On one occasion, a journalist was asked to interview him for women's program on All India Radio. The allotted time was 300 seconds. The interviewer felt that it was too short a period to interview a person like Javian. But Javian remarked, "We must learn to use every second. We can say a lot in 5 minutes." The interview was duly recorded. I was struck by his sense of timing. If he was asked to speak for 60 seconds, he would spend about 20 seconds collecting his thought and then speak precisely for 1 minute. Give or take 5 seconds, never more. Another incident illustrates both his clarity and composure. Once there was unrest among some people in Pune who had been denied entry to public lecture by a renowned international speaker. Late that night, around 10:30 p.m., I received a frantic call from a friend at Sakal Press. It was a pre-mobile era. The call was on landline. My friend said that a group of people reached Sakal office demanding a statement from the director of IUCAA, explaining why they were not allowed into the auditorium. I rushed to Javian's home. He listened calmly and asked me to return in 20 minutes. He would prepare a statement. I informed my friend, who agreed to hold the press until 11:15 p.m. When I returned, Javian had already written a short handwritten note that clearly and simply explained the situation. I read it out to my friend at around 11 p.m. He noted it down and read it aloud to the assembled group. Remarkably, they thanked both Sakar as well as Javian. The statement appeared in the Sakar Pune edition next morning. It was small act by Javian, but one of immense value. For those of us who worked with him, one thing was certain. He always stood by us. Many visitors came to IUCAA simply to admire its architecture or the outdoor science exhibits. While such visits were welcome, They inevitably disrupted the work of scientists and staff. We therefore designated Friday, 4:30 p.m. as official visitors' time. Even so, some tried to extract influence, claiming, "I am his friend." When we mentioned this to JVN, his response was characteristic. If someone says that, tell them that if they are indeed my friends, that is what JVN said, then he told us to say they should meet JVN. He will show them around. For me, working at IUCAA with him was like being a worker in a perfumer's shop. You may not create the fragrance yourself, but you carry it with you. Thank you very much.
As Mr. Paransway said, he has been a great influence, and this institutional level effort of public outreach, which we have branded as SciPop, IUCAA SciPop, well known across the country and the world, he's had a great influence in establishing that. He also used to keep time perfectly, so for the lack of time, maybe we'll have just one last question to the individual on stage. So maybe it's a good forum where we are moving into the age of short attention spans, reels and things like that. But there's a lot of legacy of work done by Professor JVN and many others in this field. So maybe I can have a few words from both the speakers here about this and what should not be forgotten and protected in the future. That is good.
So the question is that how do we cope with the pressure of social media and reels? So you see, the point is that I keep telling all my friends who are into public outreach that we have to a little bit change with the times. And so when people watch something, it's a collective thought. It is not that one person wants something which is wrong. The whole of society wants it. Then the question is whether we should do it with them or not. And I think that we should play a little bit to the gallery by producing reels ourselves. Okay? You can just imagine a 15-second thing on black holes. So I have been writing black hole stories. Each one of these are 3 pages long. And it is not in sequence. Each time is different. And I know that many people get very attracted by it. So we have to change. Now the question is that if we are so clever and we are so important and we are so wise, we will know how to move through this thing which we consider to be an apathy. So let's also be as clever as we think we are and see how to deal with the situation.
Yeah, I would emphasize again the rationalism part because that goes very closely with science and what you see in society, because I feel that if more of the society is rational, then things will be far better. And there, just like charity or other things begin at home, even those things should begin at home. So everyone should not shy away from talking about it in their homes. Make sure that you have elevator pitches of the things that you work on, that you can communicate easily, again in a non-confrontational way. If we could take this, the rationalism part to every walk of life, not just science or business related things that we do, I think that the dream that JVN had will be fulfilled in a big way.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Kebavi. Thank you, Ashish, for being here.
So we are all here for 3 days, and if any of you have any further questions to ask or any points to make, please feel free to come and see us. Thank you.
Now, back to being the not the person who works for the conference, but as a person from the IUCAA outreach program. I'll try to quickly summarize some of the highlights of IUCAA outreach program. Well, IUCAA is basically a research institute. It's been founded with some aims and eightfold path was also mentioned earlier in the tamasha. But in addition to that, or not just in addition, as a big part of that, we also have a vision in which we have to present astronomy in an accessible way and promote it and also inform the public. So these are some of the things that are part of our work that drive our work here. We also, of course, you should feel free to explore around. We have various nice things to see here, including this beautiful Samrat Yantra, unique thing to have in an astronomy institute. It also runs the IUCAA Observatory, which is about 80 kilometers away from here. So of course, Professor Govind Sarup and his excellent presence and his amazing telescope that is also there, which is the GMRT. This kind of gets a little in the background, but it exists and it's very close by. And we have a lot of outreach going on in the Zilla Talukas very nearby to this region for over 3 decades now. So our outreach timeline was something like this. We started 3 decades back, 1990, we started outreach in and around Pune with a small staff anyway at IUCAA. It was quite a challenge to dedicate time to outreach, but the staff managed, including the admin people who had to just go cycling to schools and collect data from them, take their phone numbers, etc. No emails at that time. And then call the students here. We have a long going on series called Second Saturday Lectures, where the students who attended 30 years ago have now become teachers or principals in schools as well. So that led later to the expansion to nationwide activities, because IUCAA is an inter-university center. So we have associates in several universities, and are in more than 100 universities across India. And our presence is not just in the academics, but we also help with outreach and we can either conduct events for them or provide trainings or resources for outreach in other places as well. And of course, as I just mentioned, there was this lovely campaign for the solar eclipses, and many others followed. So these would take IUCAA's outreach to a very national level, and I'm talking about 30 years back. Over the years, it developed and flourished with Mr. Arvind Paranspe joining here and Mr. Arvind Gupta also bringing in his project of the science toys. And in 2004, with a very generous donation from the family of Pula Deshpande, who was a great friend of Professor Narlikar, and of course a very prolific author well known in Pune. With a donation from him, we could get our science center. So this is probably a very unique building. I'll show you a picture later of a building dedicated to science outreach in a science institute. So that's a very unique thing to get. And again, if we look back, this is 20 years ago. From then on, we have now reached to connecting experts, our experts at IUCAA and the experts in the universities, to thousands of students and public in various unique ways. So some of the things that we host, some of the projects, activities that we host would be something like this. Of course, our outreach effort is called IUCAA SCAI, and we've also been very lucky to have very dedicated people like Arvind Paranspe and Arvind Gupta ji here in IUCAA running the science outreach program that we have. Again, I'll emphasize that this is science outreach. It was not just astronomy outreach that we were doing. Later, the Science Toys project from Mr. Arvind Gupta also fetched him an Padma Shri Award. We have also recently been awarded the Astronomy Center for Educators. It's a teaching learning center, very just behind this auditorium. You'll have some of the units there. This is for training and enabling some educators across the country who would be formal educators, or they could also be informal, just like us. We also help with mega projects outreach. We, as a country, are partnering or contributing to several mega projects. In fact, one of them is to be hosted in our country, which we will be also highlighting throughout the conference here. So, the 30-meter telescope, the LIGO India project, the square kilometer array project, these projects have to have great outreach, and I think we should also all think about this because these are the projects to come in the future which will lead to next generation working on them. We have been providing the initial outreach, and now many people have joined it. We also have organizational partnerships, including local bodies and also public-oriented efforts of the Astronomical Society of India, the International Astronomical Union, and various non-governmental organizations across the country. One of our major contributors and partners in outreach are our associates in over 120 universities across the country, which I just described. So, yeah, brief flash of numbers. I will not go into details of this for the paucity of time. Let the pictures speak louder. We have, as you can see, no dearth of numbers visiting IUCAA. There are many people visiting here for many reasons, events that we conduct regularly. It's not just the National Science Day. We have workshops for teachers, students, general public visits every week, many times per week as well. And you can see an array of pictures here. More pictures, I mean, there's a lot of pictures. Yeah, these are some of the more recent ones. We also have activities like the second Saturday lectures, visits to the Giravli Observatory, which is called IGO, and it's not just LIGO, we also do IGO, IGO. Rural outreach is a major chunk of our work. We also, of course, have science days. We have teacher training. This is a training going on in something called an IUCAA Center for Academic Research and Development, but for teachers, school teachers. Another workshop like this. We recently had a Nobel Prize winner giving a talk here in this hall. There's an international conference called Communicating Astronomy with the Public, where we have been contributing as well, amongst other things that we do with the International Astronomical Union. And this last picture is one of our prides. So this is a picture of an event which is a world record event in which about 2,000 spectroscopes were made at the same time, and it was a huge event in Kolkata during the Vigyan Samagam festival by the Government of India. Of course, we also have an online presence. We have, of course, now everybody has a YouTube channel, but our YouTube channel started in 2008. It was very difficult to handle it. We have a website. Please have a look later. I'm not going into details. This you can just find out. This is the science center I was mentioning, just behind the Chandrasekhar Auditorium. We'll be having a lot of activity, and all of you will be pictured here very soon. It's called the IUCAA Muktangan Vidyan Shodhika. To explain the word, Muktangan is an open courtyard for the exploration of science. Muktangan is something which Sri Kula Deshpande also asked us to put in the name. So it's in his memory that we have named it like this. Our work depends on the big team that we have, but it's not always so big. It gathers once in a while and goes away. So this is the picture of various times, epochs of the team that has been there. Yeah, and so you can see, I mean, it's also been appreciated by various people at top places. But these are the people who are the pillars of our work, and many of them have been mentioned. We just don't do the work in the cities. As you can see, we are reaching places far and beyond other outreach efforts. There's a school very near to the LIGO India project where the children have to walk 7 kilometers across a stream during rainy seasons. We had fun with them. So yeah, this is our latest achievement, which we are doing with the Jilla Parishad Pune, reaching about 3,000 rural schools, and the latest event that has happened, we have been able to enthuse about 15,000 students from them. So yeah, I'll finish here with a small thing that I like to share as my own personal opinion. So outreach is something, not something that we do only to inform and explain our work, as sometimes we think it's like that. But it definitely inspires and elevates the next generation's achievements. So it is an honor to have you all here, and of course we should join hands and work together for the progress of this field that we are in. I'll skip these two and leave you with our contact details on the stage. So, back, I have to put on another hat now. I'm the LOC chair. I would like my friends here, the volunteers, to please raise your hands. All the volunteers who are helping out here with the conference, please raise your hands by the time I start this up. Yeah, please raise your hands high, be proud. Okay. So these are the people we should find. These are the LOC team who has been making all this thing possible, hoping that you'll not have any inconvenience, etc. And you can always catch them for any questions, queries, help that you require. We now come to a few quick announcements and information about logistics. Right. So, of course, we've started the whole conference with food, and hope you enjoyed it. Please make note of the food timings at IUCAA. It is a slightly isolated campus in the Pune University, so we do not have any kind of nearby food places, at least within 1 kilometer. So please note the timings and we'll keep to them. The location is in the Chittaranjan Recreation Center in IUCAA. For those who may not have been staying here at IUCAA, they will not know. We will have paucity of time because of the packed schedule, so we will be having to walk till there and then back, so we'll have to manage to do that very fast. We were thinking of the menu on this thing and whether we should have a special dinner or something. Well, all the meals at IUCAA are special all the time. So, so instead of having a special menu, we are having special invitees to tonight's dinner. So make sure, please, you make use of that. We'll have lots of scientists, physicists, and other communicators around. So you're all invited to the special dinner tonight again on the Chittaranjan lawns. For those who have got support from the SOC, I would like to say that we have very limited funds, but we are trying to give you as much support as possible. Those who have got the travel support, transport support, should please make sure that you have a TA form or a travel claim form with you. Either you should have collected it from the registration, or you can do it later. But before you leave from IUCAA, please make sure that you submit it to the Nalanda Guest House reception. So Nalanda Guest House reception is where you should submit it. We will have most of our sessions here in this very special place called the Chandrasekhar Auditorium, inaugurated by Subramanian Chandrasekhar himself. We will also have parallel session. We will have parallel sessions in the afternoons. One of them will be here, and one of them will be in a hall called Bhaskar 3. So we have 3 such halls. So don't just ask for where is Bhaskar, please ask for where is Bhaskar 3, not 1 and 2. Okay. So, then we'll have the demos and posters. Some posters will be kept outside Bhaskar 3 in the foyer there, beautiful place. We'll also have the demo space just behind the auditorium here in what is called the Muktangan Vignan Shodhika and the Astronomy Center for Educators. So we have a lot of space there. People who are actually presenting either a demo or a poster can choose to put up their posters and demos now, just after during the tea time, or later also we have some space after lunch for you to do that. We also have managed to have a few institution posters and a few posters about the mega projects, so you can also look at them while you are going around the campus. We have special events which are IUCAA events, like colloquium by the director of the International Astronomical Union's Office of Astronomy Outreach, Dr. Kelly Blumenthal. So please do attend that. She's also here in the crowd somewhere, so please make sure that you take a chance to communicate with her. I can see her there. And then in the evening we have a public talk by an excellent speaker, Professor Dr. Lorimer, who is also the co-discoverer of the fast radio burst. It's a very new discovery. We also have a sky watch planned tomorrow night. This will not be just with a regular 6-inch Newtonian telescope showing you a very fuzzy Orion nebula. So this is something special, something modern. So please do come for that. We'll do that either prior or post dinner. We'll let you know about that very soon. So then, I think that's all from my side. If Neeraj would like to remind me of any points. Yeah. So we have set up communication networks over your phones. Please join Slack channels. Please join the WhatsApp group, which is more for logistics, not for other communication. And this would probably help us make things more convenient and very smooth during the next few days. So we'll now have a tea break, and it will be followed by sessions 2, 2A, 3A, and 3B. So it is requested that you please find the chairpersons of your sessions and provide your talks, slides, etc. to them. They will manage to put them on the computers and run them smoothly. Thank you very much. We will conclude this inaugural session, and we invite you for some tea outside this meeting. You have to exit and then go to your left. We'll also have an exhibition of photos and books by Professor Narlikar. It is being set up, so it's slightly delayed in that, but you should be able to appreciate all that very soon. Thank you very much. We'll join back here in 20 minutes. Yes. So session 2 will continue here, the very talks, in 20 minutes time.
Upload your talk.
Yes.
Yeah, please. So the first talk is going to be on Jyotirvidya Parisanstha work, which, and he will tell you exactly how many years old. It's the oldest amateur astronomy association in India, so very happy to have the first talk on Jyotirvidya Parisanstha work. So, Atana Patak, so I will show you cards and time's up.
Will do. Yes. Good morning, everyone. It is very nice to be here and talk with all of you. So, I'm very happy to represent Jyotirvidya Parisamstha. I am currently the Joint Secretary and Executive Council member of JVP. And I'm very happy to see all of you after a very long time. Most of us know each other, but let me quickly introduce myself. I am Atharva Pathak. I am a life member of Jyotirvidya Parisamstha, and I also work at IUCAA very actively with the outreach team. And I am formally employed at Pune Knowledge Cluster, which is a Section 8 company set up by the Office of Principal Scientific Advisor, and it is administered here in IUCAA. So let me quickly go through today's talk. So I am also accompanied by a few of my colleagues here, Aniruddha Deshpande, Sagar Gokhale, Deepak Joshi, and our president, Professor Ajit Kembhavi. So Jyotirvidya Parisamstha was set up on 22nd of August 1944 on the Ganesh Chaturthi. So before we go ahead, this is the Brida Vakya of our Parisamstha. It says, Jnanasya nirmalam netram jyotishya kamanuttamam. So if you it does not do justice by translating it in English as it is. However, it says that astronomy is the pure eye of knowledge. So, Jnanasya nirmalam netram jyotishya kamanuttamam. And in following with this mandate, Parisamstha has been active for the last 81 years, and JVP has done phenomenal work. So, as you all know, Jyotirvidya Parisamstha is popularly known as JVP to the people of Pune as well as the astronomical community. We were set up on Shaka 1866 on 22nd of August on Ganesh Chaturthi in Pune. So, the photo that you see here are some of our founder members, which include the then editor of Kesari, J.S. Karandikar, who later on also became a significant part of the calendar making reform committee of the independent India, which was led by Professor Meghnad Saha. So we will see the timeline of Jyotirvidya Parisamstha and we will also see what activities JVP has been involved in. So I can quickly tell you the names of the founders. So there is Nachi Kelkar, Didi Kapadia, Gora Paranspe. There is M.R. Jaikar, the one whom the Jaikar library is named after. There is D.N. Moghe, S.B. Dhavade, S.M. Joshi, Abasaheb Muzumdar, M.B. Gandhi, and many others. So there is an entire list of everybody here. So I will share these slides on Slack channel so you can pass through them later on. So a quick update about overview of JVP. JVP is a non-governmentally supported organization. We have been creating astronomy awareness and we have been conducting a lot of outreach activities over the last 80 years. Now, what outreach activities do we do is typically we conduct a star party, which is an overnight stargazing session that happens close to the new moon every month. It often happens on a Saturday, slightly far away from Pune, where the sky is typically better than the city. We have exhibitions that we organize closer to our foundation day, which is the August of 22nd. Then we have lectures, courses, and we also have astronomy study tours. So we offer a wide range of unique study tours. You can learn more about them in the posters that will be set up in Bhaskara 3 foyer later on. We also participate in the national and the international campaigns. Some of them are mentioned here: the International Year of Astronomy, International Year of Light, Eyes on, and so on. But what is unique about the JVP is it is very active in amateur astronomy observational projects. JVP is very active in the Indian subcontinent, where it has submitted the most number of variable star observations using a DSLR, and now we are catching up with the CCD observations with an amateur level. We are also very active in the occultation observational space. The International Occultation and Timing Association of India is coordinated by JVP. We keep rolling out the predictions every month, and we also collect all the observations from the Indian subcontinent, and we facilitate those on our IOTA India website, where one can get a list of all the predictions of asteroid and lunar occultations in the Indian region. And you can also submit and upload your observations there. We are also active in the meteor shower observations, And most of our members work with the small telescope between the 6 and 12-inch range, where typically the large observatories often get saturated. We can look at the stars ranging from the magnitudes 8 to magnitude 14, which allows us to do some good scientific and meaningful observations in that lane. So this is a brief timeline of Jyotirvidya Parisamstha. So in 1952, after the independence, the government of India invited some of the experts from JVP to set up what is known as the Indian National Calendar or the Indian Solar Calendar. You don't typically use these dates day to day, but you will often see these dates in the official documents or the gazettes. So this date you see here, July 12 of 2024, is the Gregorian calendar date that we all are familiar with and we all regularly use it. However, there is an official calendar which also shows the date of Ashad 21, 1946, Ashad 21, 1946, which is the official date of the Indian National Calendar. So this calendar was designed under the committee led by Professor Meghnad Saha, and there were members of the Parisamstha that were Dr. J.S. Karandikar, who was the then editor of Kesari, and Professor M.L. Chandrasekhar. So both of them were specially invited to be on board this committee and design what is known as the Indian National Calendar. We also had designed some of the best star maps during the first few years of the Parisamstha. The star map that was published by Parisamstha won the award by the Deccan Vernacular Society, and it was sanctioned, and it was a part of the school curriculums during the years 1949 and a couple of years after that. So these are some of the observation facilities, and these facilities have been significantly evolving. You can see in 1946 we got a 3.5-inch refractor telescope, brass telescope that was donated by Professor M.G. Sathe. Later on we made a lot of telescopes on our own. We had some of the first telescope making facilities in India in the early 60s, and Parisamstha members were very active then. Now we have a huge fleet of small reflector and refractor telescopes, which we provide as a part of what is known as a telescope library. So similarly, how you issue books in a library, you can issue a telescope if you are a member of JVP. And the charges are 10 rupees per month. So it is to encourage students to actually get out and use telescopes, and the best way of maintaining telescopes is to keep using them. So 2000 onwards, we started upgrading with a large fleet of go-to telescopes or automatic telescopes. And now we have eventually reached to a point where we have set up a fully automated dome along with a state-of-the-art telescope and CCD cameras with it. We have multi-filter CCD observation capability. This entire observatory can be completely remotely operated from anywhere, including your cell phone. So we have managed to do that over all these years, and it has been a huge learning curve. So these are the key activities since inception. So we continue to have study circle meetings on every Sunday. So since 1945, this has been a regular activity. Every Sunday, you will find us at Turk Smarak Mandir evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. We have theme-based lecture series. So there were special lecture series which were supported by the then government and some private philanthropists during 1948 to 1964, which included Vyankatesh Bapuji Ketkar, who you might have heard of. So there are occasional theme-based exhibitions, which have been happening since 1949, and the basic astronomy course, which is still happening to date, is conducted. It is a month-long course where we invite experts from different fields, and it is an induction to getting into the field of astronomy. So it gives you a flavor of all different domains of astronomy, and experts give short, concise talks where they introduce you to their area of research and then their area of interest. So we also have monthly stargazing programs from 1945 till date. So some of the important contributions of JVP, or some of the unique inceptions that JVP initiated, was bringing together the amateurs like we are all here today. So most of you are professional astronomers, some of us like myself are amateur astronomers. So the first Indian amateur astronomers meet was organized by Jyotirvidya Parisamstha in collaboration with IUCAA here in the University of Pune, and it was in the year 1991. So it was right after the inception of IUCAA, just a year after that. And we had also organized the first telescope owners meet in the year 2000, where we had invited the telescope owners from all over the country, to assemble and have a observational exercise or observational meeting with them. Right now, almost everybody has a telescope. Almost all schools want to get a telescope, and if we plan to get such a meeting today, we will have thousands of people attending, hundreds of people attending right here in Pune itself, which is a great change. So recently we were invited for designing the ceiling of the new Parliament building. So on that ceiling there is a brass etching done of the sky of the 26th of January 1950, and on the floor we have designed an astrolabe along with a Foucault's pendulum. So this was the most recent engagement where JVP was invited to design the ceiling as well as the flooring space, where they wanted to incorporate the sky of the Republic Day of India. So these are some of the highlights of public programs or star, which are the overnight star parties. So we have a typical participation of 100 plus almost in every star party. Sometimes we have to have 2 star parties in a month to accommodate for about 200 to 300 people. These happen slightly on the outskirts of Pune. We usually accept people of all age groups. So we have participants who range from the years 1 or 2 all the way up to years 90 and 95. So it's a huge spectrum of people who keep attending these events. And what is very exciting is we get repeat visitors who are excited to see the different skies throughout the year actually. So we get visitors in the summers and winters, and they are really excited to keep attending these events. And this event is much cheaper than watching a movie in a multiplex. So it's also fun because you get to see stars and planets. And these events also include mythological stories that we tell, both Greek as well as Indian mythological stories. And if you have never attended such an event, please do. It's it is one of the most fun nights that you will have. So apart from that, we organize exhibitions. So exhibitions are often theme based. We have a huge fleet of active volunteers. Many of them tend to stick with us for 5 to 6 years until they are right from they are in college until they disperse for their higher education somewhere. And while they are associated with us, they are really very active. And some of the models that JVP members have created have been distributed nationwide. One such example can be seen if you go to the Bhaskar complex of IUCAA. You will see a L-shaped model. So it is the LIGO India model that was designed in one such exhibitions, and then we have permanently set it up here in IUCAA. We had also created a scaled model of 30-meter telescope, which allowed us to do very good outreach in different parts of India. This model has traveled in almost 4 states. And we keep on designing different exhibition themes like multi-wavelength astronomy, Mars exploration, space stations, and so on. I want to show you a 1-minute video of how our exhibitions typically look like. So this is a time lapse. So even in this exhibition, the common public of Pune, the best thing about Pune city is you can organize an exhibition on anything and people will show up. Because Punekars in general are some of the best audiences in the country. They will respond to all different and unique themes that you are presenting. So you will see that apart from the posters themselves, there are a lot of models that the volunteers have made. And the whole purpose behind getting all the young kids involved in making these models is, this is the TMT model, is to encourage them to read up on the upcoming mega science projects and astronomy missions and astronomy projects, and train them to do better science communication to people in the local languages as well as English. So that is a really crucial skill set. And I myself am a beneficiary of that. I have been a volunteer once, and then eventually I was able to manage to get on the other side of the dais and get an opportunity to talk to all of you. So I find myself to be a good beneficiary of that. So we organize study tours. So these are astronomy study tours which we organize throughout the country. So we have GMRT IGO Lonar Meteoritic Impact Crater, which is right here in Maharashtra. We have Alibag Magnetic Observatory clubbed with Nehru Planetarium. We offer these 2 unique tours. One is the South Indian Astronomy Observatory tour, where we club visits to multiple astronomy observatories as well as venues relevant to space and astronomy. So the the purpose is that you get to visit these observatories, you get to interact with the scientists working within the observatory, and we also get to know about the cutting edge research and all the up-to-date updates, all the recent updates that the observatory has produced. We have a similar North India astronomy tour where we visit the Jantar Mantar, Aries in Nainital and Devastad Observatory, the Guru Shikhar Infrared Observatory, and some nearby places. We have also started organizing the Hanle Dark Sky Reserve and the observatory tour, and it has been a huge success. So if you have never been to Hanle, you should definitely try to visit Hanle or the nearby regions once. It is India's first dark sky reserve, and it's an amazing place. So these are some of the glimpses of the JVP study tours. These are just some photographs from when the members have been. All these places are state of the art, and as a science communicator or an astronomer, it is really encouraging to visit all these places. So we keep organizing public talks and lectures. We keep getting visitors in Pune who often are Nobel laureates or legends in their field, and we often have got an opportunity to host them at JVP and organize their talks. So these are some examples. So we have had public lectures of about 70 plus speakers, eminent speakers, out of which we have hosted about 18 Nobel laureates. So this has been a huge encouraging factor, and it's always an honor to listen to the legends in these fields. We obviously organize event-based programs, which are solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, transits, occultations and all. So these are very well received by Punekars, because people are really always excited to see through the telescopes, and this is a huge hit whenever we organize such events. Like I said, we also organize the courses and workshops. There is a basic astronomy course, a residential astronomy workshop for kids, and astrophotography workshop. And then there are many more workshops and credit courses that we keep organizing throughout the year. So apart from that, we have some facilities like the book and the telescope library that I mentioned. And finally, the last 3 slides show the scientific observations and science projects that JVP is involved in. So JVP formed the first meteor observation group that submitted the observations to the IMO bulletin in the year 1990s. Then we are very active in the variable star observations. So more than 75,000 observations have been submitted by JVP to the AAVSO, and the occultation observations is something that we are very active in, and we very actively travel even far away from Pune to observe the asteroid as well as lunar occultations. So lunar occultations you don't need to travel, but for asteroid occultations, wherever the center line is going from, you need to actually go towards the center line and take observations of the occultations. So these are some solar eclipse observation graphs where it shows radio flux versus time, UV radiation versus time, visible light intensity versus time, and temperature and humidity versus time. And finally, these are the sky surveys that we have done to keep a track of multiple open clusters and variable stars. And we always participate in different campaigns that are organized by different partners and groups. So this is a quick summary of what activities JVP has done over the last 81 years. So I thank you all for listening to me. So my 17 minutes are done. I will, 20 minutes are done.
Yeah, the slides, the times are showing you about 20 minutes.
So you can reach out to us.
One question, somebody can raise their hand, I'd like to come to you. Thanks again, Jyotirindha Parisastha is an excellent, it's a very unique organization, it's the oldest amateur astronomy group in India, and who also do a lot of professional measurements and observations. So anybody who's thinking of having small astronomy, amateur astronomy clubs and want to get to know more, please ask them. We have time for one quick question, if there is a hand. Do I see a hand? Yeah.
Yes.
Then can the mic go to her, please? And can I ask the next speaker to kind of come to the stage and be ready?
So she asked who does all these observations. So the members of the JVP are very actively involved. The observers include schools working in students working in school, studying in schools, right from the grades 6th, 7th, 8th, all the way up to professionals who are working in a bank or something. But we get a steady stream of project students who are doing their final year BSc and MSc projects, who really want to do it for academic reasons. But we have people who do it out of pure interest, who have no incentive other than just observing the variable star itself.
Thanks so much, Atharva. They all
Jyotirvidya Paisans are here, so you can catch them. The next speaker.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for this opportunity. I'll be speaking on the I'll be speaking on the topic from hobby to career about the astronomy club in our college, Ferguson College. So before I proceed, I'm sorry, how does this? I'm sorry, I think I'll go with this. Yeah. So the outline of my talk here is astronomy clubs, what they typically do. I've purposely put this slide because most of the astronomy clubs are involved with certain activities, whereas the astronomy club in Ferguson College is doing something different from the typical astronomy groups in India or elsewhere. And then I'll be talking about need for astronomers in India, Astro Club of Ferguson College activities associated with it, and of course the outcomes of this particular club. So there are many astronomy clubs in India, especially in many colleges, institutions, and so on. Most of these astronomy clubs carry out these activities just like just now Atharva has mentioned all of them, so I'll not go into that. So here I would like to mention what Professor Kembabi once had mentioned in the Times of India in 2015, that in the next 10 years the country will need thrice the number of astronomers it has today. So there are several mega projects which are coming up in astronomy like TMT, LIGO, SCAI with international tie-ups, and which of course will need a lot of astronomers. So this means today's students will actually be tomorrow's researchers. So this is the biggest challenge we have to face because we will be needing a lot of human resource in this particular area. So the aim of the Astro Club in Ferguson College is to produce these kind of astronomers who will be helping India and these projects which are coming up. So these are the typical activities which the Astro Club goes or does every time, and here I would like to mention how these activities have shaped the students in becoming researchers in astronomy and astrophysics. So I'll quickly go through all the activities. Weekly group discussions. This have helped students a lot because here most of the students are given some topic in astronomy and astrophysics which is given on the notice board or in the WhatsApp group nowadays. Students prepare these topics and have a group discussion. This is an informal group discussion here by the MSc students, third year BSc students. They guide the first year and second year students whereby they discuss the topic which has been given. So discussions on various scientific topics and popular astronomical trends, brainstorming and creative ideas come out of this. Then we also have an annual poster exhibition like most of the astronomy clubs do. Here again, the third year students guide the first year students, the senior MSc students also guide the first year students. So this gives them a chance to interact with each of them, especially the senior students. In most colleges, we have seen the first year students are mostly lost, but here we have first year students, and the second year, third year and MSc coming together to make this exhibition whereby the students again have a theme, and on this theme they prepare for a month. They make their own posters, they make their own models, and of course explain it to the general public. So these exhibitions are typically seen by the public at large in Pune as well as schools and other colleges. Then this particular poster exhibition, as I mentioned, just like Atharva just mentioned here, some of the models which are made here, we also give it to other schools and colleges for their exhibitions also. So these models are utilized a lot. These are the publicity posters, typical publicity posters. I am showing you here these posters because these posters are also made by the students. So here the students' art and craft, activity is also taken care of. So these all are made. We have never asked any photographer or any other person to design these posters. These are all done by the students again. Then meteor shower observations is a common thing which is going on for the last, I think, 2 decades or so, and we are regularly sending observations to the International Meteor Organization. We were just like JVP had also sent a paper to the Meteor Organization. We were the first, I think, yes, we were the first people to represent India at the International Meteor Conference at Armagh. That was in 2010. And we have also carried out radio meteor observations from various places in India like PRL Ahmedabad, then Nagpur, GMRT and Dound. Then this Frontiers in Physics, this is one activity which is very close to my heart. This particular seminar is a seminar for the students, exclusively for the students, because you have seen we have many symposiums and seminars which are organized for the research faculty, but this particular seminar is exclusively for the students and it is organized by the students. So there are no faculty people who are in the organizational setup here. So here students get exposed to many things like getting a sponsorship, leadership qualities come out, publication, poster making, editing, comparing, technical arrangements, refreshments, menu, escorting the guests. All this is done by the students and of course at a very minimum budget. Then these are some of the photographs of Frontiers in Physics, and this year in February 21 we'll be having the 19th year of Frontiers in Physics. So for the last 19 years this particular seminar has been going on. This is again the photograph of the Frontiers in Physics. We have Durgesh there with the model there. Okay, so then again we have continuously workshops and lectures. These workshops help the students to do real astronomy, projects in astronomy. So we have like most of the workshops are on computational astrophysics, high energy physics and so on. Again, these are some of the posters designed by the students. Then we have already had some eminent speakers in Frontiers in Physics. We were lucky to have Professor Dadich last year. And during the pandemic, we had Professor Brian Smith also. The first Frontiers in Physics was inaugurated by Professor Elhers of the Max Planck Institution, director of the Max Planck Institution. These are some of the other people who have contributed to the Frontiers in Physics. Then astronomy popularization in school. This again is done by the students throughout the year. So here we hear the students go to various schools for the outreach, whereby they have English medium schools, Marathi medium schools, Hindi also, and here we also covered some Kannada and Urdu medium schools also. So these students, especially when there is an event going on, we go to these various schools. Of course, this particular topic will be covered by one of my student, Dhruva, in her oral presentations, the outreach in the schools. Then, yeah, this is again outreach in schools. The students have also contributed to IUCAA, NCRA, ISER, GMRT and Savitribai Phule University for their science days also. Most of the volunteers also volunteer there for celebrating the science day. These are some of the workshops which we have carried out, just to name a few. We were lucky to get some time on the Green Bank Observatory also, so students have used this particular observatory, got data, learned how to get data, analyze the data, and this particular work was also presented at the ASI meeting a couple of years ago. Then these are some of the other workshops which were carried out. Stargazing, as most of the other astronomy groups carry out, this stargazing is again carried out, especially in the second semester when the skies are clear. Astrophotography is some of the things which students have taken up very seriously. So here at the bottom you can see some of the photographs taken by our own students. Again, we have a poster here today on this particular topic. Students also visit various places whenever ISRO is launching anything. For example, from Sriharikota, Aditya L1, Chandrayaan and so on. So students do visit these places as a group to actually witness the launch. These are some of the eclipse viewing photographs we had on the campus itself. Alumni interaction, this is again a very important part of the activity, because some of the students who have passed out of the college, they have done their masters in other institutions in India and abroad. Some of them are doing and passed out and doing PhD and postdoctorates in astronomy, astrophysics abroad. So whenever they come to India in December or January, they make it a point to visit the college, interact with the students, and this really inspires the students because they also want to do something what their seniors and peers are doing. So this is a very important activity, and we really are happy to have so many students coming every year, visit the college and interact with the students. The students have also made an impact in radio astronomy. They have made a small radio telescope. This particular telescope was used during the total solar eclipse of Kannur, where they took observations. We have also taken part in the IUCAA organized SWAN antenna design competition, whereby some specifications were given to design a particular antenna. So this particular competition was there for all the colleges in India, but most of the colleges which took part in this competition were engineering colleges. Ours was the only science college which took part in this competition. Out of 18 teams which took part, 5 were shortlisted for an interview, and we were among those 5, and out of those 5, 3 were asked to make the prototype of this particular antenna, which we have managed to make. This is called as a SWAN antenna from whatever funds we were having. So this particular antenna is already there. Still testing is going on at NCRA. Dimensions is another newsletter which is published by the students. This is a in-house publication for private circulation, again edited by the students for the students. Then some of the students have also taken part in the International Astronomy and Astrophysics competitions. So these are the various certificates which they have acquired. There are many, but I have just shown you a few. Then students, of course, carry out many projects for their third year in MSc. These projects are thankfully guided by most of the faculties in IUCAA, NCRA, ISER, ARIES and so on, and TFR. So we are really thankful to those faculties who guide the students for their projects, and some of the projects also lead to publishing them, and also for conferences. So many of the students, even at undergraduate level, they have presented at national conferences. And because of all these activities which the student is doing for the 3 years as a graduate student from Ferguson College, they end up getting many scholarships because their CV becomes very strong. Students have obtained scholarships like the BCGS, Erasmus Mundus, Rhodes Scholarship, Goldman Sachs scholarships. This has helped them to do their masters and PhD in future. Then Science Education Initiative. This particular program was started by one of our alumnus again, whereby we had gone to 33 ZP schools for the 5 years, where students were teaching maths and science to the Zilla Parishad schools, that is the low income schools. Again here the medium was Hindi, Marathi and Urdu and Kannada. So this particular initiative only lasted for 5 years because we didn't have funds to go on with that. One of the important thing which came out of this initiative was that the Pune Science Festival of 2018, because the Zilla Parishad schools never have these kind of exhibitions. These are low income schools. So after teaching them science and maths in their schools, our volunteers invited them to our own college, whereby they had a chance to exhibit what they had learned. So this was a very big achievement, because those students and teachers were really happy to organize an exhibition by their students in our college from the Science Education Initiative. And Professor Mashalkar sir was really happy inaugurating and seeing this particular exhibition. We also had online outreach programs during the pandemic. So even during the pandemic, we didn't stop. We had some of these programs during the pandemic, so the work was still going on. Live telecast of various launches like Chandrayaan 2 and Aditya 1. This is again one activity which all the students enjoy. You know, we have an amphitheater, luckily, so everybody gathers there, and whenever there is a launch by ISRO or by any other agency, we make it a point to have a live telecast of that, and everybody really enjoys it. And before that, of course, we have a lecture regarding what's going to happen. So this again creates a very, it inspires the students to do astronomy, astrophysics. Presently, we have these two facilities in Ferguson College. Recently, we have just made a 3-meter radio telescope. The students of MSc have made this particular telescope. And of course, NCRA workshop has helped us do this. And I thank the director NCRA also for letting us use the workshop to make the 3-meter radio telescope. We also have the 3-meter observational dome right now, which is, which is automated dome, but the sad thing is that during the pandemic we had some instrumentation, or rather the circuit of this particular dome which got a little damaged, so we were not able to pursue with that, but now we are going to start working on that so that this particular dome will be operational soon. This is a 3-meter scope dome. Again, it can be remotely used. These are some of the things Astronomy Club in the news. Outcomes. So during the course of their 3-year graduation, students have gained many skills, as I mentioned earlier. So till date, from the Astro Club Ferguson College, we have more than 109 students who have taken up astronomy, astrophysics as a career, and they have done their masters in astronomy, astrophysics, PhD, and postdoctorates in astronomy, astrophysics. So this particular activities have helped them to gain positions in various institutions with scholarships. So we have a huge number of these people. Gender balance, of course, these are some some of the figures as far as master's students are concerned, PhD students are concerned. We have a good balance of ladies and gents who are working in astronomy, astrophysics, who are doing professional astronomy. So thank you. Room under the stairs, this is one small room we have in the college which is exclusively devoted for astronomy related activities. Thank you. These are the social media channels. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's amazing the amount of work's been done by Ferguson College over the years, and the impact she's shown is also amazing. What she didn't say is that the main driving force for all of this is Kusala Kadabadi. So let's thank her again for that. Appreciate her.
Thank you, thank you. One thing I would like to add is that though Neeraj has said that driving force, that is okay, but we being in Pune has helped us a lot. Institutions like IUCAA, NCRA and ISER, because we are in Pune, and the help extended by these institutions was enormous, due to which we could do all this. Thank you.
Point to you. Questions? Just raise your hand. Especially from people in colleges and schools who would like to learn more about how to kind of kickstart such a huge program and so on. Yeah, but we have some time. Yeah, please. Can you all introduce just your name when you ask questions?
Hi.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. I'm not from school or college. I just wanted to know about the challenges you have faced in this journey.
When Atharva from JPP was giving a talk, I realized that the kind of people their organization has in JVP, they have very senior people who are continuing with the legacy. In our case, what happens is that students in first year are very new, so they kind of get used to the college and these activities. So by the time they are in second and third year, they know what to do. But after third year, they leave. So each time we have to go on training the students to do new activities. Again, funds are of course a problem. Earlier we used to have a lot of problems with funds, where we used to get sponsorships from any company, industry or banks. But later on, IUCAA had helped us a lot, because now I was a IUCAA associate, so I could get some funds. Then later on we were an INAT center, and now we are an ICAT center. So thankfully now we are getting enough funds, so we don't have to worry about the funds. But earlier we really had a lot of problems if we want to carry out anything. The funds were the major things. And also the students, as I said, when suppose a student is trained in using a telescope or in something else, that student goes away after his third year. So again we have to start this all over again. And so that's another problem. We don't have, somebody who is there for a long time to take care of these things. Yes, sir. There is a question there.
Myself, Nitin Rook.
Yes, sir.
I'm a
associated with colleges as well as schools. I'm from Akola, a place nearly about 300 kilometers away from this place. How we can have such activities at Akola?
Sir, we can talk about this. I will give you it in detail during baby lunch or something. Yes, we'll talk about that. Thank you.
Quick question, Ajit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you are, I can see you are the driving force, but you have a steady people like staff members, other faculty members.
Yes.
Take up with all.
Okay, as far as the staff members are concerned, sir, I myself, I have not got a PhD in astronomy, astrophysics. My PhD is from plasma polymerization, all that. I was interested and I got into astronomy, astrophysics. Other staff in my college, all are from material science background. So mostly in India, we have PhDs. You don't have many people who have got PhD in astronomy, astrophysics and are working in college. You will find very, very few number. Most of the people who are there are from material science background. So I do not have any staff member who is astronomy PhD holder. Right now, 2 faculty are there. No. Most of the thing when I joined, all the seniors were there. And now most of my juniors, they are working typically in the material science area and not actually doing astronomy, astrophysics.
So let's thank